Hello, beautiful beings. How are you guys? It's been a while. But guess what? Today is my birthday. I turned 38 today. I'm 38 years old today. This video is getting out today. Last year, a lot was going on. I didn't get the video out until much, much later. My goal is to not do a lot of editing on this, but to actually get through the video and then put it out. I recently rewatched year 36 review going into year 37, and the things that I came away with was that I really wanted to live and learn expectation versus anticipation when it comes to my relationship with God. I also wanted to really lean more into just the letting go part, right? Letting go of things, and but the key is not just letting go. The other part is letting go and letting God, right? The other part was giving it to God, not just letting it go, but giving it to God. Things happened. So you probably didn't watch my other one, but the beginning of my year 37, I fractured my foot, which completely changed the trajectory of what I thought I was going to be doing that year. Or did it? That is the question. So anyway, I spent the first quarter of year 37 with a fractured foot, driving in traffic, which is what I was trying to avoid, working in an office, which is what I was trying to avoid, and I don't know, just not really being where I wanted to be. So I was learning how to be, trying to be in a place of gratitude because I was grateful to have a job. And from my injury, I got my first line of duty, or LOD, which in the military is kind of a ticket toward disability, getting disability. So there's that, right? I also was very, very grateful, very, very blessed to be able to still work, right? Because even though I wasn't in the capacity that I wanted to work, I still was able to provide for my family. It was, especially when that was the time that oh my gosh. Yeah, my car broke down. My Dodge Journey broke down. So I bought my Nissan Rogue Sport that year, and I needed to be able to pay for it. So I was able to pay my bills, able to get on top of things. Great. And in that first quarter, while I was grateful for what I had, I was still ambitious and wanting to get to where I wanted to be. That, and because where I was extremely, extremely temporary, right? I was on temporary orders with the National Guard, and they were constantly not necessarily always being able to guarantee that I was going to have a job in that next month. It was really crazy. So really, really walking on faith, really walking on very unstable ground as far as when it came to my income. So really having to lean into my faith of God, believing that He would not leave me nor forsake me, believing that He brought me there for a reason, and what have you. I would say during the time that I was working in that position, I was basically the only person working towards an inspection. That it's a 3 to 5 year inspection that someone else should have been in there for the 3 to 5 years, but I had 6 months to try to get done what should have been done in 3 to 5 years. So that's something else to consider. It was a lot going on. Toward the second quarter, I really realized that that's not the career, that's not where I wanted to go. So I hired a career coach. Very fortunate because I had the money to do so. So I did that, started really honing into what I wanted to do, and it still was a technology piece. I just didn't really know how that it was going to look. So again, letting go of expectations and being in anticipation. I had done the boot camp, right? I had a set of skills. I learned some more things about myself, i.e., I didn't like client work. That was not the route that I wanted to go. Maybe WordPress. After talking to my career coach, maybe I had other options outside of WordPress to work in technology. So that was I was learning things. It was when I tell you guys, it was kind of all over the place, but in the end, it comes together. It kind of does. So second quarter, still fractured foot, because I thought it was only going to take me 3 months to heal. It took me from June until December to heal, which means that the National Guard Bureau, the NGB job, was completely out. Like, there's just no way they were going to hold a job for me for 6 months. And so I had to accept that and be in anticipation of what God was going to have for me, right? So going into the second quarter, career coach, maybe more expanded. I started to look into another platform called Salesforce. One of the pilots within my unit, his wife was a Salesforce admin, and he was telling me about that. So I brought that to my career coach, and we started exploring that option. A lot of great things there. I was getting knowledge about different things like that. So that was thing. It was just a lot, right? It was a lot going on. So then going into still in the second quarter of my 37th year, I was applying for jobs. I would say a big part of my 37th year was looking for work, right? And again, I had to let go of the expectation that I was going to be a self-employed entrepreneur, not needing a job, all these other things that I had really held on to so dearly and so tightly. And I had to let go of that. And I had to be like, maybe working a job is not the end of the world. Maybe it's okay. Maybe I can find work that I enjoy. Maybe I can work in a way that aligns with what I want to do. So that was that piece. So with my career coach, I know I'm trying to like keep myself together. Applying for jobs. Started heavily applying for jobs around like September, October. Was not getting much response. And if I was getting response, it was really in places I didn't want to be. There was a lot of admin. Oh, you can work for this colonel or this general, or you can be the program manager, but you have to come in and it's like, in Bethesda, Maryland, or out in Fairfax, Virginia. It was just all over the place. I was not getting any closer, but I kept applying. I even applied. They even got to the point where they offered me, they began the search to look for someone permanently in my unit, in the office that I'm in. And so I applied to that too, knowing I really didn't want to, but I was like, well, maybe there's something here. Again, letting go of expectations. I'm like, okay, God, if this is where you'll have me, then you're going to be able to help me like manage this. And so, yeah, I was just applying for things in anticipation of what God was going to have me like be able to work out for me. Well, come November, my temporary orders again on the verge of being ended. In fact, they did end, and I was told that they weren't going to be able to be extended. So a little bit of a freak out there, but also around that time, I was told that my orders would not be able to be extended past December. So I was like, I don't have a job. I don't have a job. And so I'm looking past December. So January 1st, 2023, I was not going to have a job. And so there's so much, you guys. So then praying, working with my career coach, putting on my application, I got a call. Okay, I got a call. It was kind of out of the blue. It wasn't even for a position that I applied for because I didn't know the position existed. It was from a network, an associate that I worked with years ago who kind of knew of my situation of working temporary orders, looking for work and stuff like that. And they put my name in the recruiter's mind. So the recruiter called me, and long story short, I got the job. I had to do a nice little test for it to turn in as a recruiter called Artifacts, which the word freaked me out. I had to do an interview with 3 people in like on Zoom. And it was for much less than what I was making while I was on orders. So that was that. However, fully remote, and also in the tech industry. I'll be working for a company as a functional analyst slash developer, keyboard developer, that would allow me to dig into, like, start like kind of like more into the tech field. So yeah, that was my second quarter. By the grace of God, I landed that job. And so grateful, right? Even though, like, at the beginning of the summer, I was like, there's no way. I don't know how in the world I'm going to break into the tech industry. None of this is going to work, blah, 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 blah. 6 months later, I have a job in the tech industry, fully remote. And although the pay is different, much less, and a civilian, so like other things that come into factor, you know, I was like, I'm going to take this job. And God, if you sent me this job, you're going to allow this job to work out, right? You're going to work this out for my good and for your glory. So now, third quarter, started my job. So January, February, March, right? Started my job, and that in itself, a new job, working remote during the winter, seasonal depression, what else? Just being new, right? I was just, even my close friends know that I would be going back and forth. Did I make the right decision? Am I right for this job? I wasn't always grasping things. I wasn't sure where I was. It's a different style of management. Letting go of anticipation, letting go of expectation, being in anticipation. Every day I would wake up, every day I would log into my computer, and I would just be like, okay, God, what am I doing? Right? Like, I mean, it really was coming to that point. In that interim of between my like November and January, I had to, talked about letting go, giving it to God. I let go of this identity I had, that I had to be a creative, that I had to be a singer, right? I mean, if you know me, look at my YouTube channel, I have lots of singing videos. I was trying to be a producer. I was trying to do all these other things. And was going to apply for the Army Choir. But again, it was couldn't be remote, right? Schedule wasn't going to be flexible. Probably was going to do work that I loved, but it still wasn't giving me like the things that I really desired. I also auditioned for my church choir. Same thing. Their practice is like 3 times a week. And it was like, no, right? No. And so I'm in that, and letting go of expectation. I'm supposed to be a singer. I'm creative. I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur. I'm supposed to be all these things. And more so being in anticipation of like, okay, maybe the way that I think the things needed to look don't have to look that way. And being open to things looking a different way. Because also during that time of November, December, I decided that I wanted to start a dropshipping business because I was scared I was not going to have work. And I'm like, how can I work remote, have my own schedule, be something in tech, dropshipping? So I spent a crap ton of money on someone to build my dropshipping store. That did not work out. Again, it just didn't work out, right? It was marketing, which I'm horrible at. And it took me a while to kind of figure out my logo and stuff, which I love. I love the store and what it meant, but it was just things that I was like, no, this isn't the way to go. So yeah, like letting go of those expectations, being in anticipation, and also learning to let go and let God, not just let go, not just place things on the back burner, but literally giving my hopes and dreams to God. And then allowing myself to understand that it can come, what I'm desiring can come in different looking containers. It doesn't have to come in the container that I think it needs to look in order for me to be successful, in order to me to have the, I don't even know, like the life that I thought that I wanted, right? Prime example, the work I'm at now. I was like, what? Like, how did this even start? Like, again, someone from years ago. I think that I met my mentor back in 2017. I worked with him for like maybe 4 or 5 months, maybe even that, maybe 3. And from that little spark, God continued to put me on this man's heart and mind. That even years later, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 5 years later, he was in the same state as me, like DC, as a National Guard, and he thought about me. he thought about me and was able to refer me. Like, and then the fact that my mentor for years, actually throughout those 5 years, had called me every now and then, and maybe I had contacted him, like, do you know of anyone looking to hire? And he would be like, yeah, my company, but I didn't have the confidence, right? Because sometimes what we want, we're not ready for, whether it's us, right? Or whether it's the thing that we're wanting isn't ready for us. And that might have been the case. I'm not sure what the company was before I got there, but I know that I wasn't ready, right? I hadn't gone through a boot camp. I hadn't seen myself being able to really dig into code like I did with my boot camp, or be able to use the internet to find the answers and stuff like that. And so it's a big thing to be able to let go and literally give it to God, and for God to give it back to you, maybe not in the container that you think that it's going to be in. Okay, so now the fourth quarter, y'all, God is blessing me. Like, he really is. I'm slowly starting to understand my job more. Me and my kids we've figured out our homeschooling regiment. While I have not been singing, and I'm still working through what I feel is success when it comes to a creativity, I am, even with my and I'm not really sure even how to explain that, like, the desire of entrepreneurship, the desire of owning my business. And I'm still working through that, because what does that really mean, right? And it was a quote that I saw recently. The business of convincing people to start their own business is a business in itself. On its own is what it says. It's a business in its own. The business of convincing people to start their own business is a business in its own. When I read that, I was almost set free. I was like, oh, right? So we have all these gurus on the internet telling us that your 9 to 5 is a dead end. You're building someone else's dreams. All these things that just really devalue and negate what a regular working person is doing, only so that then they can profit off of your dreams and your hopes and these things that we want, really. So for year 37, going into year 38, that's something that I'm still exploring, right? I feel like I have some healing to do from that. And I'm excited. I'm still in anticipation of what God, because I don't know what the future holds, right? Truth be told, this job could just be temporary. It could just be a stepping stone to something else, or it could be the plateau that I've needed for so long to be able to stand on and look out and kind of see what life could be like, and not necessarily from a glamorized, social media inspired perspective, but from really being in the moments and in the realities that I've been given. So again, I know it seemed all over the place, but the big thing is that I really do feel like God allowed me to explore what it means to be in anticipation of what he has for me, and to even let go of things and to give it to God, and allow him to either give it back to me the way that maybe I was like really wanted it, or for him to be able to dissect it and be like, here, like, I know you wanted a business. I know you wanted to be an entrepreneur. I know you wanted, to do all these things, but here's what you really wanted, right? You wanted to work in a way that allowed you to kind of be your own boss, right? Without direct micromanaging, supervision. You wanted to work for a company that appreciated thinking and being innovative and asking questions, right? You wanted to be home with your boys, and you wanted them to be able to see you and to know that you're there. I guess I'm still exploring what even that is, like what is inside of all of the shell that I'm looking at. So it's a lot going on still, but I'm here. God is good. Learning to be mindful, learning to be in anticipation, and learning to really look, like when I say that I want something and I'm really driven to get it, what is inside of that, right? Like what is inside of that I'm really seeking? And then again, not tying my identity to external things, right? I'm Beelyta. I am a being created in God's image. And while I have the desire to be creative and I have the desire to be free thinking and to be innovative, why? Like what's underneath all that? So those are the questions that I'll be asking and trying to pry into in my year of 38. A year of 38. So if you watched all of this and you followed any of it, please let me know. I'm so happy that I'm still able to make these videos. And as you can see, my setup is different from when it was before. I probably look different. Things are different, but still growing, still learning. And another thing that I learned is I no longer subscribe to the idea of winning and losing in like life. It's winning and lesson. And there are a lot of lessons that I'm still learning and that I learned, and now I need to make those applications. So yeah, that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you're able to follow along, and if you want, be sure to check out my gaming channel. That's where I do probably most of my posting. I haven't posted in a while, but I do intend to get back on that because I really did enjoy it. All right, I'll see you guys not in my on this channel, then I'll see you guys on my other channel, being Beelyta Games. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.